a little story called Guts that originally I don't believe Playboy magazine would buy, but now they are going to buy. So it's called Guts. Inhale. Take in as much air as you possibly can. This story should last about as long as you can hold your breath, and then just a little longer. So listen as fast as you can. A friend of mine, when he was 13 years old, he heard all about pegging. This is when a guy gets banged up the butt with a dildo. You stimulate the prostate gland hard enough, and the rumor is you can have explosive hands-free orgasms. At that age, at 13, this friend's a little sex maniac. He's always jonesing for a better way to get his rocks off. See, he goes out to buy a carrot and some petroleum jelly to conduct a little private research. Then he pictures how it's going to look at the supermarket check stand, the lonely carrot and the petroleum jelly, rolling down the conveyor belt toward the grocery store cashier. All those shoppers waiting in line watching. Everybody seeing the big evening he has planned. So my friend, he buys milk and he buys eggs and sugar and a carrot, all the ingredients for a carrot cake, and Vaseline. Like he's going to go home and put a carrot cake up his butt. At home he whittles a carrot into a blunt little tool. He coats it with the jelly, and he grinds his ass down on it. Then nothing. No orgasm. Nothing happens except it hurts. This kid, his mom yells at supper time. She says to come down right now. He works the carrot out, and he stashes the slippery, filthy thing and the dirty clothes under his bed. After dinner, he goes to find the carrot, and it's gone. All his dirty clothes. While he ate dinner, his mom grabbed them to do the laundry. No way could she not have found the carrot. Carefully shaped with a paring knife from her kitchen, all shiny with lube and stinky. This friend of mine, he waits months under a black cloud, waiting for his folks to confront him, and they never do, ever. Even now that he's grown up, that invisible carrot hangs over every Christmas dinner, every birthday party, every Easter egg hunt with his kids, his parents' grandkids. That ghost carrot is hovering over all of them. That's something too awful to name. People in France, they have a phrase, spirit of the stairway, in French, esprit d'escalier. It means that moment when you find the answer, but it's too late. Say you're at a party and somebody insults you, you have to say something. So under pressure, with everybody watching, you say something lame. But the moment you leave the party, as you start down the stairway, then magic. You come up with that perfect thing you should have said, that perfect crippling put down. That's the spirit of the stairway. The problem is, even the French don't have a phrase for the stupid things that you actually do say under pressure. Those stupid, desperate things you actually think or do. Some deeds are just too low to even get a name, too low to even get talked about. Looking back now, kid psych experts, school counselors, now they say that most of the last peak in teen suicide was just kids trying to choke while they beat off. Their folks would find them, a towel twisted around their kid's neck, the towel tied to the rod in their bedroom closet, their kid dead sperm everywhere. Of course, the folks cleaned up. They put some pants on their kid. They'd make it look better. The regular sad kind of teen suicide. Another friend of mine, a kid from school, his older brother in the Navy said how guys in the Middle East jack off different than we do over here. This Navy brother was stationed in some camel country where the public market sells what could be fancy letter openers. Each fancy tool is just a thin rod of polished brass or silver, maybe as long as your hand, with a big tip at one end. either a big metal ball or the kind of fancy carved handle that you'd see on a sword. This Navy brother, he says how Arab guys get their dick hard and then insert this metal rod inside the whole length of their boner. They jack off with the rod inside, and it makes getting off so much better, more intense. It's this big brother who travels around the world sending back French phrases, Russian phrases, helpful jack-off tips. After this, the little brother, one day he doesn't show up at school. That night he calls to ask if I'll pick up his homework for the next couple weeks because he's in the hospital. He's got to share a room with really old people getting their guts worked on. He says how they all have to share the same television. All he's got for privacy is a curtain. His folks don't come and visit. On the phone right now, he says how his folks could just kill his big brother in the Navy. On the phone, the kid says how the day before, he was just a little stone. At home in his bedroom, he was flopped on the bed. He was lighting a candle and flipping through some old porno magazines, getting ready to beat off. This is after he's heard from his Navy brother that helpful hint about how Arabs beat off. The kid looks around for something that might do the job. A ballpoint pen's too big. A pencil's too big and rough. But dripped down the side of the candle, there's a thin, smooth ridge of wax that just might work. With just the tip of one finger, this kid snaps the long ridge of wax off the candle. He rolls it smooth between the palms of his hands, long and smooth and thin. Stoned and horny, he slips this down inside deeper and deeper into the piss slit of his boner. With a good hank of wax still poking out the top, he gets to work. Even now, he says those Arab guys are pretty damn smart. They have totally reinvented jacking off. Flat on his back in bed, things are getting so good, this kid can't keep track of the wax. He's one good squeeze away from shooting his wad when the wax isn't sticking out anymore. The thin wax rod had slipped inside all the way inside, so deep inside he can't even feel the lump of it inside his piss tube. From downstairs, his mom shouts, "It's supper time." She says to come down right now. This wax kid and the carrot kid, they're different people, but we all live pretty much the same life. It's after dinner when the kid's guts start to hurt. It's wax, he figured, so it would just melt inside of him and he'd piss it out. Now his back hurts, his kidneys. He can't stand straight. This kid talking on the phone in his hospital bed. In the background, you can hear bells ding, people screaming, game shows. The x-ray showed the truth. Something long and thin bent double inside of his bladder. This long, thin V inside of him is collecting all the minerals in his piss. It's getting bigger and more rough, coated with crystals of calcium. It's bumping around, ripping up the soft lining of his bladder, blocking his piss from getting out. His kidneys are backed up. What little it does leak out of his dick is red with blood. This kid and his folks, them looking at the black x-ray with the doctor and all the nurses. The big V of wax blowing bright white for everybody to see. He has to tell the truth, the way Arabs get off. But his big brother wrote him from the Navy. On the phone right now, he starts to cry. They paid for the bladder operation with his college fund. One stupid mistake, and now he'll never be a lawyer. Sticking stuff inside yourself, sticking yourself inside stuff, a candle in your dick or your head and a noose, we knew this was going to be big trouble. What got me in trouble, I call it pearl diving. This meant whacking off underwater, sitting at the bottom at the deep end of my parents' swimming pool with one